Hello, everyone! This is Twilight Okami here with a new Let's Play series. Oh wait, the sound effects is fine. Pardon me. Welcome, this is Katawa Shoujo, a dating sim. And, there's no better way to get into this than to just start. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note just said 4 p.m. Don't know why you put a .00 there. It's freaking weird. Ah, yes. The note. Slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of an initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only signs of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time is slow to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. It's right behind you! Hizo? You came? A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I have listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. What is this, a Time War? Why did I say hearts? Jeez. Oh. And Wanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it. I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes. I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. I saw a joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle even if I tried. And this is where shit gets real. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst from my chest and claim this girl for itself. That's not why. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs in the branches. The cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Wanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if spurred by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine as she lazily twirls her long dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. Stand there, motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they're being stretched beyond the breaking point. Hizo? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hizo? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Hizo! You fucker. The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky. Iguana running towards me. All of these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. And that, my friends, is the introduction to Katawa Shoujo. Of course, we live, but right now we're in the hospital. Because of this game's multiple branching pathways, after the first episode, I'm going to wait till I get a bunch of responses telling me who they want to pick. You pick one group of girls, and then there's a branching path that will pick later on. But it's all up to you guys what girl you want to hang out with in the end. But now let's just enjoy the opening sequence and the plot. Pardon me, I'm eating sunflower seeds. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. And that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts. So, I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. A strange word. A foreign, alien one. One that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It didn't really do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I had gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they are in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel... The first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but he told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So, I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I am not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows that there's at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more of a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I like reading, and I think I even had become a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That's what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. Felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass and that I was trapped inside of instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely, and I couldn't even cry. Today, the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. That is ritual the head carist has. He takes his time, sorting his papers, and setting them aside as to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. That is so many sentences. This guy... let me put this way. This narration's all in his head. It's fucking the weirdest way of narrating ever. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Hizao. How are you today? I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. Saddest part is that only half of that most of this stuff here is more for depression, but the other half is actually for his condition. Actually, to be honest, I think it's a third, and another third of that is just the fucking side effects. Let's look at them all. Jesus. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contradictions and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I tried to read them, but it's so futile. Can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All this, for the rest of my life? Every day? I'm afraid that is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please, calm down, Heizo. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? The way he says it tells me he knew full well I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever of my concern shows is ignored. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So, I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What am I? It has a 24-hour nursing staff and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for a disabled kid. Don't try to disguise that fact. Wow, Howzo, way to be an ass munch! If it really was that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple of weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I don't have a choice. You don't have a choice, not at all. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamned opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one, a special school, that's an insult. That's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, in one way or another. Your father's right. As many of the graduates of the school have gone to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. But what can I do about it? Normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I always had a thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now, something about how I can go back to school anyway, but no. I don't say anything. The fact is that I know now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all of this, the hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school, what are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I have something. Even if it's a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It would be a mistake just to resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life will look like. Act 1. Life expectancy. Fun fact, you can actually die in this game. Haha, the gate. So pompous. So Richie. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but I couldn't really decide. Probably no. Wow, he's so sarcastic. Freaking tab. Of course I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked towards the main building of Yakamuku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have, more like a park. The clean walkway going past trees and the smell of fresh fresh cut grass, and all the other park-like things. Words like clean and hydrogenic pop into my mind. It makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies, too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of a school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. Kinda eerie. Makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. Twilight Zone. Ooh, okay, I'll stop. The trees hum with the wind, and the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about hospitals again. How they say the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? ... Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous with this realization set in my head, I opened the front door. I don't know why I can't read today, guys. I'm sorry. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be Niki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Mutu. I don't think I said that right, but oh well. Correct me in the comments. Welcome! We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asks you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh? Should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow, not knowing what's waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost missed what the teacher was saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to class? Oh, fuck! I just remembered this is actually a first fucking choice. But there's yeah, of course, which is the one... Because I've actually played through this before, and I was working on one of the other pathways before I decided to do a Let's Play on it, I always picked yeah, of course. I've never picked why, and I don't... So this is like the only one you guys aren't going to get a say in. I'm just going to say yeah, of course, because I think that just helps being positive. Yeah, sure, I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. The third door down I'm so sorry. The third floor down the third door down the third floor corridor is marked as a classroom for the class 3-3. No fucking door. Miyoto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip! This is a big step, I know that, but there isn't any point in worrying so much about it, at least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. As you've seen from the title screen, there's a girl with covering her face with her hand, so you probably guys know which one I've already done. She doesn't have anything wrong with her, I can see. Neither does she. I don't know about him. She's missing her thumb. He's missing a leg, as you can see from the way his pants fall. She has an issue with her hand. As you can see, that person has a cane. He's missing his freaking ear. And he's just patched up like old cartoon style. Like, what the fuck, game? It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high and there's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. Entire wall is taken up by blackboards, and the high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. Students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. I stopped walking in front of the classroom and faced the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school, but then, why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them, only it's just not immediately obvious. Then, I noticed one of the girls seemed to be missing the thumb on her right hand. It's a little dry. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduced me to the class. I noticed a flash of dark hair that someone is looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair that's pretty eye-catching. She sees me looking back at her. She covers her face with her hands and will make her invisible. One boy with a cane. Yeah. Well, the girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rims of her glasses and goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So is a cheery-looking girl with the pink hair standing next to her. She looked hard to miss. I don't know. I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Yeah. Just a warning. She has nothing wrong with her so far that I've noticed. I don't know about anything else, but so far there's nothing wrong with her. She's just her interpreter, because she's the one who's deaf. And technically kind of mute. She's a deaf-mute combo. Not sure what's wrong with this one. I don't know what's wrong with him, and she is an amputee. What the fuck is this guy in the back? I think he's asleep, but I'm just surprised because I didn't notice him the first time I played this. Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands and so does everyone else, except one girl in the first row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. Collection of silence tells me I should open my mouth now, so I'm Hiza Nakai. And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student. And after that, I'm being so boring. This is exactly what every self-induction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said, though. A few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. It could have gone worse. I could now be dying of an actual heart attack while I'm LPing this, while my character's just like, fuck. Listen to the teacher. He drones on about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again, which feels a weird thing to do. With one hand against her other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. It makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so I'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She is the class representative. She can explain anything you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that better, right? How could I know? The teacher passes out the daily assignments and announces that we will be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi is right there. Shizune Hakamichi. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and gold eyes waves her hand over at me. I take a seat next to her by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. Ha ha ha! What? I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's not... Freaking not looking at the timer. But... I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Shi-chan. Giggling, Misha points towards the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she has been staring at me this whole time. She nods once, nonchalantly, to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. Well, ain't you a bitch? Kidding. She has short, yet carefully, neatly brushed hair, a pair of of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of a dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seemed to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks over at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher is messing with me, saying things like, "You'll be able to talk to people," and "Who better to explain things to you?" I can see you're a little confused, right? Right. But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason, right? Right. He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? I wish I could do a Pinkie Pie voice, because I would totally give it to Misha, because she fits it perfectly, even with the freaking pink hair. We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you would be here today, so soon. Hik-chan, right? Hik-chan? Hi-chan? Okay. Oh, pardon me. Yep, Hik-chan. Egg-chan. Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say something out loud? It's just a surprise. I've never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits. You look just like I imagined. Which is male. Yeah, you look just like a Hik-chan. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Hakamiki taps her fingers on the desk to get Micha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Yeah, that takes some real skill to be able to sign language that fast. Micha seems a bit overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shik-chan wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had the time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it? Misha stumbles with the hard word of it, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that would be pretty helpful. Yeah, I just kinda came straight to class today. Ha! That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there. Not just with school, either. Always! Even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really, Shik-chan? Learn about where you're going? I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to going along with it half-assedly. But anyway. I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? It seems like it was about me. I feel like something over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. You look down, are you okay? Don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test. Wahaha! Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, she has a fucking Waluigi laugh! But yeah, these are two of the girls you get to pick. They're the first grouping that you see. Alright. And another thing. You don't have to call Shik-chan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shik-chan. What the fuck happened to the happy music? Okay. Maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate. Yep. Shizu is fine. Okay, so apparently you got a death glare from the death chick. Nice job, Misha. Okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel a lot more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that. Just less so, I guess. Exclamation point! Huh? Alright, we haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now, or Sick-chan will get mad. The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class. Wahaha! That too! Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message. After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day today, and I forgot to fucking read it because I accidentally hit the spacebar. The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of being both difficult and unnecessarily long. That is my grievance in every class ever. Still, we finish in a few minutes earlier than anyone else in the class, despite our late start. Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different, though. The class rep is calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish, not to mention a little more easily distracted. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. The clock tower bells ring, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who is beckoning me to the hallway and standing down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Mutu down at the bottom floor. Just like everything in the school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Okay, this looks like my high school. What the hell? It really does. It's kind of unnerving. Its big windows open to the courtyard towards the main gate. It's the cafeteria! Her enthusiastic statement is the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care. So we proceed down to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options, which seems great until I realize many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. How nice! It almost feels as if I'm back at the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table sitting opposite of her. To nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand science, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at the person who talks to you is proper and polite? Do you want to know something? What? About anything! We're your guides, so you should ask if there is something. I wonder. Alright, now, this is where I'm actually going to end off this episode, because here is where it all starts. There's three different pathways. To start us off on the path that I've played, if you guys like that cute long-haired girl that was covering her face that we saw in the pan, we have to ask about the library. If we want to actually continue on with these two, we need to ask about these deafness. The top option, I have really no clue who that leads to. I think that leads to a couple that we don't actually see because they're one class our junior. But this is where I'm going to end it for now because it's going to be up to you people. I don't remember if I can save at this point yet, but if I don't, after a week and getting enough comments, I will choose a pathway if no one actually says anything, and we'll find out. So until next time, this has been Twilight Akami, this has been Katawa Shoujo, and we're gonna get into some really effed up fucking shit, because god damn, these girls drag the fucking feels out of you everywhere. Alright, goodbye.